This is Jessica with Whispers of Grace Healing. I know it's been a little while since I've been on. Things have been crazy lately. Busy, but good. So thank you for everyone's patience. So we're going to be doing 5 and 6 of our affirmations for creating more loving relationships. I also have a piece from the 4 agreements that's going to tie into this. I may or may not do it in one video. I might split up the 4 agreements, but we'll see how much time we have. I hope everyone's doing well. I miss you guys. And hopefully these messages resonate with you. So if they do, or they help you in some form or fashion, or you know someone who needs to hear this, please make sure to like, share, subscribe, drop me a comment, let me know how it resonates with you. And if anyone needs any advice, help, whatever it may be, you can get in touch with me through whispersofgrace1016@gmail.com. All right, guys. So affirmation number 5. I know how to lead because I know what needs to be done. And just for those of you who do not know, we are reading from The Soulmate's Path by Monte Ferber and Amy Zerner. So, lesson 5, be a leader. There are times when your ability to assume a position of authority and control is crucial for bringing true love into your life or for improving an existing relationship. Sometimes you have to be the one who volunteers to organize the situation for the benefit of all. When it's obvious that you are being called upon to take control of your life, especially your love life, you must lead, not just with words, but also by your actions, by your example. If you think you cannot lead until you know exactly what to do, it is time you learn the truth about all great leaders. They do the best that they can. If you are in a relationship in which something needs to be done, you sometimes have to be the smart one. If you have pointed out the issues and planned solutions with your partner but nothing happens, then do it yourself. If you wait for your partner to take the lead, you may be disappointed. Even if they appear resistant to taking your direction, in their heart of hearts, they know you're right, and they'll come around to your way of thinking sooner than you think. Your partner's inaction may be justified in some way. He may be overcommitted or distracted. It's also possible that he might be confused, or they might be confused and have lost their way. This happens to everybody sometimes. There are times when your partner needs to feel secure by knowing you can provide strong leadership. Power is said to be the ultimate aphrodisiac. By displaying the power to take command at the appropriate time, you enhance your attractiveness. If you are looking for a loving relationship, cultivate an air of confidence and trustworthiness. In everything that you do, don't take shortcuts or get involved with any underhanded activities. Behave nobly and with great style, no matter what economic class you were born into. When you're the leader, you must temporarily put your own needs second to that of your relationship. At the same time, be careful to avoid seeming overbearing or dictatorial. Let your good example be the best sermon. It is especially important to avoid cheap shots or pettiness. Many people have a hard time accepting direction from someone who does not live up to a very high set of standards. And the balance to this, and we'll get more into it after we read number 6, but there are going to be times that, and this is about having a healthy balance of partnership. It should never, ever fall on one or the other to be in the leader position all the time. It doesn't matter whether you're male or female, feminine or masculine. We all have weak moments. We all have distractions, and we all have shortcomings. So when one partner tends to fall short, or one partner tends to have a hard time committing to something that you both know is going to be beneficial for your relationship and your individual needs in the long run, it's important that someone take the lead. And if your partner doesn't have the capability or the energy to take the lead on it, if you want to see change, you have to step up. And that also goes into what the four agreements is talking about, is not making assumptions. When we stop communicating and expect our partner to just know what we need and they should know what to do and we shouldn't have to say a thing, things get really messy. So it's important that we stay humble enough to understand, I love this person. I want this person to grow with me. It's not so much about changing the person, but growing together, to say, if this is something we both want, but normally your partner is the leader, because most of the people that follow my channel are female and tend to look towards their masculine for some sort of guidance, structure, leadership. And so sometimes, especially with codependency and victim mentality, we get so wrapped up in the relationship and focused on the masculine that we forget to take control of our own lives. Regardless if your partner does it too, you owe it to yourself to make your life better. Okay? So I'm going to leave that right there for now, and we'll get back into that. But affirmation number 6 says, I enjoy being alone and getting in touch with who I am as an individual. Lesson 6, be realistic. You need to examine your words, thoughts, feelings, and actions to make sure that you are not focusing too much of your attention on your relationship. And this is going to be a hard pill to swallow for a lot of people that follow my channel. Sometimes you need to focus more on your work and career, even your hobbies. It is as practical to stop micromanaging your relationship as it is to focus on financial and other worldly considerations. If you are trying too hard to improve an existing relationship, take a break from it. And that doesn't mean leave, okay? Not telling people if you're having a hard time to run away from your relationship, but take some conscious time for yourself. Take a break from running all the different scenarios in your head of what this person could be doing better, why they're not doing this, why your relationship is in a downhill slide right now, or going through a rough patch, whatever it is that is triggering you to not see what you have to be grateful for in your relationship, then you just need to take a step aside and take some time for yourself and focus on something that may have been put on the back burner because you're too focused on trying to fix your relationship. Okay? As our friend noted, psychiatrist and guided imagery pioneer Gerald Epstein, MD, says in Healing into Immortality, it is time to separate your attention from your intention. This advice holds true for accomplishing all goals. You may be surprised at the positive results you see in your relationship when you forget for a while. Perhaps you have been overly concerned about it, or your partner has noticed your concern and isn't so happy about it. Focusing all that energy on other things for a while will allow you to be yourself again. Be a worker in the world. It will at least give you a new perspective when and if you return to working on your relationship. Your break from doing so may offer a fresh perspective later. If you are trying to bring a loving relationship into your life, consider the logic of this advice. Assume there is someone out there for you and let it go at that. And this goes into the whole thing too. Assume that there is someone out there for you and let it go at that. There are a lot of people, and we'll get into this with the assumptions, but there are a lot of people out here that, and I actually had a client and a friend ask about this the other day, about manifesting love, real love into our lives versus manifesting a specific person. When we start trying to manifest on someone else's behalf to see us in a loving way, we are messing with free will. And that's a level of control and manipulation on a whole nother level, and we need to be very careful of that. If there is someone in this world that we love but can't see how lovable we are, and maybe they do and you're just not seeing it because there's a distorted self-image, there's a part of you that feels unlovable, and therefore you're fearful of rejection, of abandonment, and that's a hard pill to swallow too. So no matter what, you should always be inviting love into your life, no matter what that looks like or who it comes from. But regardless, you are lovable, you have lovable qualities, and there's someone out there that is going to accept you for who you are. But first, you have to accept yourself. When you can be you and speak open, honestly, and not be afraid to hold yourself accountable and make necessary changes for the betterment of your growth, that's something you need in your life. Someone that can encourage you, see you for who you are, and love you for who you are, but also understand that you are not a perfect being, and that in order for us to grow, there are changes that will be made in order to evolve us. And that person will support and encourage that, but not dictate it. There's a difference. So, you do not have to do anything to make things happen. If you find yourself with unsatisfying people and relationships, it is possible that as of now, you are not yet the person your soulmate is looking for. And I think so many people get hurt multiple times, and I've been there. They get hurt so many times that they're so scared of being open and vulnerable with other people. So getting back into the dating scene and opening yourself up to someone new only to be let down again. And you see the vicious mindset that goes on there. And so we end up self-sabotaging in many, many ways to keep distance, so that if it does fall through, then maybe we won't be hurt so bad. But in reality, we're torturing ourselves the whole time. We're not even fully present because we're so guarded. And yet we find ourselves surrounding, still going after relationships that are not really satisfying, or not really what we need, but what we think we want, because of the vibrational frequency or mindset that we are at the time. And many of us will sabotage very loving relationships in fear of our expectations not being met. So it's a very, very tricky thing. And listen, I will say that if you were having trouble with your relationships or finding gratitude and feeling stable within yourself, and therefore it's affecting your relationships, if you're feeling very insecure and judgmental and paranoid and all the things, then there are things that need to be addressed within you. If you cannot be told how amazing you are, how lovable you are, how proud people are of you, if you can't hear all the good qualities, all you're going to hear is the negative. You're going to hear people calling you out all the time, and then you're going to feel worthless. So, and it starts to weigh up on you, and you need to be very careful of what you are accepting into your life, whether that be through verbal, emotional, or physical action. So it is possible that by focusing on your career, you will become that person. You may develop skills, resources, and attitudes resulting from your work experiences, which will help you develop your authentic self. By completely forgetting about your romantic potential for a while, you may very well project your most attractive qualities to the kind of person that you have been seeking for so long. It is at least worth a try. By not fearing solitude, you exhibit a very attractive strength. And this is something else that I've noticed a lot in the world. So many people are scared to be alone. They're terrified that if it doesn't work with this person, I'm going to be alone forever because I can't do this anymore. I can't do this again. But yet you're terrified of being alone for the rest of your life. I think, guys, we are meant to experience connection. Some of us do have soul contracts where our purpose and our mission is so big that we're not meant to be in a healthy or not a healthy relationship, but in a romantic relationship. And that's okay. There are a lot of people in this world that have chosen that path, and that path works for them. But for the majority of people, we are meant to be in a partnership. Think about it. Like, really think about it. You can get a lot done by yourself. Okay? Hey, Mauricio. You can get a lot done by yourself. And I think a lot of us need to give more credit to our own abilities. You are perfectly capable of succeeding and getting everything done that you need to by yourself. But imagine how more exciting and more opportunities, and like if you had someone that understood you and saw things the way that you see them, has a bright mind and creative attributes, and they can further enhance your dream for life, that is a powerful tool. And to have that kind of support in your life is only going to take you further. So that's why you must choose wisely. Choose wisely. And whether that's a romantic partner or your friends, even your family, because listen, family's adopted all the time, doesn't have to be blood. But who you choose to be in your life is crucial. It is important. What you surround yourself with, you will become. You will start picking up traits, characteristics, mannerisms, behaviors, patterns, all these things. So think about the influences that you have and make sure that you are choosing things that are supportive, encouraging, loving, not afraid to hold you accountable. It is, yes, it is reciprocity. It is equal give and take. And it is without judgment. It is without lowballing and, making the deep punches to make someone feel small. That, and listen, and a lot of us are still, especially when being triggered in the heat of the moment, we want to point the finger. We want someone to take the blame for the pain, right? But that's where you are the example. If you want things to change and people people you're associated with are still in this mindset of a defense mechanism, if you are going to make me feel small, I'm going to make you feel smaller. You have to be the bridge there to say, okay, if I want this conversation to take a different turn and have a different outcome, then I'm going to have to try a different approach. And that is where, taking some space for yourself to get clear on what it is that you would like to see come out of this. How would you, if you could have your partner, like, think about it. If I am not receiving this from my partner, or this, every time we have this conversation, this is the outcome, what would I like to see differently? How would I like my partner to show up? Maybe you should start showing up like that. You have no control over what the other people are doing, but you have every bit of control over how you show up. Okay? And I think it's really time for us to be realistic about not only how we're showing up, what we're allowing. Are we able to truly forgive? Are we making a lot of assumptions in order to fuel our fearful mindset? Like, there are going to be times where you have to be the leader, and there's going to be times where you have to be the receiver. There are going to be times where you have to put all of your attention and energy into getting through a hardship or being fully present so you can receive the love that is before you. And then there's going to be times where you have to take a step back and focus on yourself. That is the balance. That is the art of energy. And when you are aware and in tune, you can more easily navigate some of these situations. And when you realize everyone's human, we all have our shit, then you can take a step back and forgive a little bit easier. You can look at the bigger picture and understand why that person may be acting like that. But it is your response that is just as equally important as theirs. Okay? So we're at 22 minutes. I'm just going to go ahead and read from the 4 agreements, because I feel like this all pertains a lot to what we're talking about. So this is the 3rd agreement. Don't make assumptions. The 3rd agreement is don't make assumptions. We have the tendency to make assumptions about everything. The problem with making assumptions is that we believe they are the truth. We could swear they are real. We make assumptions about what others are doing or thinking. We take it personally. Then we blame them and react by sending emotional poison with our word. That is why whenever we make assumptions, we're asking for problems. We make assumptions when we make an assumption, we misunderstand, we take it personally, and we end up creating a whole big drama for nothing. All the sadness and drama you have lived in your life was rooted in making assumptions and taking things personally. Take a moment to consider the truth of this statement. The whole war of control between humans is about making assumptions and taking things personally. Our whole dream of hell is based on that. We create a lot of emotional poison just by making assumptions and taking it personally, because we usually start gossiping about our assumptions. Remember, gossiping is the way we communicate to each other in the dream of hell and transfer poison to one another. Because we are afraid to ask for clarification, we make assumptions. and believe we are right about the assumptions. Then we defend our assumptions and try to make someone else wrong. It is always better to ask questions than to make an assumption, because assumptions set us up for suffering. The big mito is in the human mind creates a lot of chaos, which causes us to misinterpret everything and misunderstand everything. We only see what we want to see, and we hear what we want to hear. We don't perceive things the way they are. We have the habit of dreaming with no basis in reality. We literally dream up things in our imaginations because we don't understand something. We make an assumption about the meaning. And when the truth comes out, the bubble of our dream pops and we find it was not what we thought it was at all. An example, and I know quite a few people will resonate with this. You were walking in the mall and you see a person you like. The person turns to you and smiles, but then walks away. You can make a lot of assumptions just because of this one experience. With these assumptions, you can create a whole fantasy, and you really want to believe this fantasy and make it real. A whole dream begins to form just from your assumptions, and you can believe, oh, this person really likes me. In your mind, a whole relationship begins from that. Maybe you even get married in this fantasy land. But the fantasy is in your mind, in your personal dream. Making assumptions in our relationships is really asking for problems. Often we make the assumption that our partners know what we think and that we don't have to say what we want. We assume they are going to do what we want because they know us so well. If they don't do what we assume they should do, we feel hurt and say, you should have known. Another example, you decide to get married and you make the assumption that your partner sees marriage the same way that you do. Then you live together and find out this is not true. This creates a lot of conflict, but you still don't try to clarify your feelings about the marriage. The husband comes home from work and the wife is mad and the husband doesn't know why. Maybe it's because the wife made an assumption. Without telling him what she wants, she makes an assumption that he knows her so well, that he knows what she wants, as if he can read her mind. She gets so upset because he fails to meet her expectations. Making assumptions in relationships leads to a lot of fights, a lot of difficulties, a lot of misunderstandings with people we supposedly love. In any kind of relationship, we can make the assumption that others know what we think and don't have to say what we want. Sorry, guys. They are going to do what we want because they know us so well. If they don't do what we want, what we assume that they should do, we feel and think. How could you do that? You should know. Again, we make the assumption that the other person knows what we want. A whole drama is created because we make this assumption and then put out more assumptions on top of it. It is very interesting how the human mind works. We have the need to justify everything, to explain and understand everything. In order to feel safe, we have millions of questions that need answers because there are so many things that the reasoning mind cannot explain. It is not important if the answer is correct, just the answer itself makes us feel safe. This is why we make assumptions. If others tell us something, we make assumptions, and if they don't tell us something, we make assumptions to fulfill our need to know and replace the need to communicate. Even if we hear something and we don't understand, we make assumptions about what it means and then believe the assumptions. We make all sorts of assumptions because we don't have the courage to ask questions. These assumptions are made so fast and unconsciously most of the time because we have agreements to communicate this way. We have agreed that it is not safe to ask questions. We have agreed that if people love us, they should know what we want or how we feel. When we believe something, we assume we are right about it to the point that we will destroy relationships in order to defend our position. We make the assumption that everyone sees life the way we do. We assume that others think the way we think, feel the way we feel, judge the way we judge, and abuse the way we abuse. This is the biggest assumptions that humans make, and this is why we have a fear of being ourselves around others. Because we think everyone else will judge us, victimize us, abuse us, and blame us as we do ourselves. So even before others have a chance to reject us, we have already rejected ourselves. This is the way the human mind works. We also make assumptions about ourselves, and this creates a lot of inner conflict. I think I'm able to do this. You make this assumption, for instance, then you discover you're not able to do it. You overestimate or underestimate yourself because you haven't taken the time to ask yourself questions and to answer them. Perhaps you need to gather more facts about a particular situation, or maybe you need to stop lying to yourself about what you truly want. Often when you go into a relationship with someone you like, you have to justify why you like that person. You only see what you want to see, and you deny that there are things you don't like about that person. You lie to yourself just to make yourself right. Then you make assumptions, and one of the assumptions is, my love will change this person. But this is not true. Your love will not change anybody. If others change, it's because they want to change, not because you can change them. Then something happens between the two of you, and you get hurt. Suddenly, you see what you didn't want to see before, only now it is amplified by your emotional poison. Now you have to justify your emotional pain and blame them for your choices. We don't need to justify love. It is there or not there. Real love is accepting other people the way they are without trying to change them. If we try to change them, this means we really don't like them. Of course, if you decide to live with someone, if you make that agreement, it is always better to make that agreement with someone who is exactly the way you want him or her to be. And I do, like I said earlier, before everyone gets on that, please take however this resonates. But from my personal opinion, there can be so many great qualities in someone, and we also have to understand we are all working to be better. Most of us, the majority of us, right? If you have someone that is in your life that can be that co-pilot or the pilot in certain, you know what I'm saying? Like, you want someone that you can truly be a partner with, where you can own your mess and your accomplishments and not be afraid of who you truly are, and have someone that can support, embrace, and encourage you to grow, to be better, you know, but it's your choice. It's their choice to do that with you, right? So don't expect anyone to be perfect. Does not exist. Find someone whom you don't have to change at all. Take however it resonates. It is much easier to find someone who is already the way you want him or her to be, instead of trying to change that person. Also, that person must love you the way that you are, so he or she doesn't feel you have to change you at all. If others feel they have to change you, that means they really don't love you just the way you are. So why be with someone if you are not the way he or she wants you to be? We have to be what we are, so we don't have to present a false image. If you love me the way I am, okay, take me. If you don't love me the way I am, okay, bye. Find someone else. It may seem harsh, but this kind of communication means personal agreements we make with others are clear and impeccable. Just imagine the day that you stop making assumptions with your partner, and eventually with everyone else in your life. Your way of communicating will change completely. and your relationships will no longer suffer from conflicts created by mistaken assumptions. The way to keep yourself from making assumptions is to ask questions. Make sure the communication is clear. If you don't understand, ask. Have the courage to ask questions until you are clear as you can be, and even then, do not assume you know all there is to know about a given situation. Once you hear the answer, you will not have to make assumptions because you will know the truth. Also, find your voice to ask for what you want. Everyone has the right to tell you no or yes, but you also have the right to ask. Likewise, everyone has the right to ask you, and you have the right to say yes or no. If you don't understand something, it is better for you to ask and be clear instead of making an assumption. The day you stop making assumptions, you will communicate cleanly and clearly, free of emotional poison. Without making assumptions, your word becomes impeccable. And there is a part in there that kind of brought up a piece for me. Okay, if you don't love me for me, bye. And if you love me, okay, take me. There are a lot of people in this world that have some very unhealthy behaviors, and we all do, right? I think about some of the things that I used to do 10 years ago that I would never do today. And that's through growth, that's through evolution, and that's through self-love and respect. Now, no matter what, I think we should always have self-love and respect, but also understand that we don't have it all figured out. There are plenty of things that we could all be doing better. And I don't think that it should ever be to the point to say that if our actions and our words are affecting the people that we love around us and is not healthy, right? If it is not cultivating love, if it is not cultivating unity, if it is not cultivating support, and all the beautiful things that we should have in our life, then we should be accountable for those behaviors and make necessary adjustments. And that goes for everyone else in our life. I think it's unfair to say, this is just the way that I am, and you take it or you leave it to a certain extent. But if you truly want to be the best version of yourself, don't be afraid to take constructive criticism. It's not to say that, you should be bullied or be put down. But if someone comes to you with an actual concern to say, hey, I'm worried about your health, I'm worried about your safety, I'm worried about your well-being because of said behavior, then you should have enough respect for yourself to look and to see if that behavior is actually causing some imbalance in your life. That's all I'm saying. But if you think you got it all figured out, you ain't got nothing to fix, and there's nothing wrong that you do to self-sabotage or to create resistance, or, listen, it's unreal. Be realistic. Be realistic. We all have stuff to work on. I think we got to be a little more gentle with ourselves, but we also have to be real about it. So, but I hope these messages help you guys. And if you have any questions or have any feedback, let's get into a conversation about this. Did it trigger you? Did it enlighten you? What did you get from this video? So with that being said, I love you guys. I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful day. And I wish you nothing but love, happiness, blessings. And even in the darkest moments, I hope that you find truth. I hope you find clarity. And I hope you find the strength to keep pushing forward. Much love, many blessings. Bye, guys.